There's a moment in your life when you realize you're no longer the victim. You're the villain in someone else's story. The first time I saw the fear in her eyes, it wasn't because I was holding a weapon. It was worse. I was holding a pen. And I knew exactly what that signature would do to her. Funny how that felt familiar. Too familiar. Because once, not too long ago, it was my mother sitting on the other side of the table, holding my hand as her whole world was torn apart by a man in a clean shirt and expensive watch. And now, God help me, I was that man. I grew up watching my parents get swallowed by a system they didn't understand. My dad worked double shifts at a factory that stopped existing overnight when a clause in a contract let the owners offshore it all. My mom cleaned houses for people who forgot her name 5 minutes after she left. We weren't special, just invisible, until the eviction letter came. I remember standing beside my mom at the courthouse, her English broken, her back streak, while the lawyer representing the property owner didn't even look up from his notes. He called us non-compliant occupants. The judge nodded, and that was it. 20 years of rent paid faithfully, gone in 2 minutes and a gavel. That day broke something in me. I promised myself I would never be powerless like that again. I wanted to understand the rules, speak their language, beat them at their own game. So I studied. I clawed my way into law school with student debt wrapped around my neck like a noose. I didn't sleep. I didn't party. I didn't breathe unless it moved me forward. And eventually it worked. I passed the bar. I got my foot in the door. I thought I'd made it. I told myself I was going to help people like my parents, that I'd be the one lawyer in 100 who didn't sell out. But the world doesn't wait for your good intentions. My first few clients couldn't pay. I took food stamps as legal fees. I worked nights at a grocery store just to afford gas to the courthouse. My friends moved on, joined firms, bought condos, took vacations. I stayed behind, drowning slowly in paperwork and bills, telling myself it was worth it. Until one of those firms called. They needed someone fast, cheap, and hungry. I hated what they stood for, but I was out of options. One case, that's what I called myself, just one. The client was a developer kicking out tenants for a new complex. Classic. They had loopholes in contracts. I knew the game, and I knew how to spin it. I buried their mistakes in technicalities. I kept my head down, and I won. They gave me a bonus check that could have covered 3 months of rent. I took it. Then came the next case, then another. Soon I had a corner office, a tailored suit, a nameplate on the door. I told myself I was still me, just surviving. Everyone sells a piece of themselves. I just sold mine faster. Until she walked in. Her name was Mara. Small frame, wide eyes, the kind of quiet rage that comes from years of being ignored. She was being evicted. Mold in the ceiling, broken heater, 2 kids, no relocation plan. She had evidence, photos, documents, doctor's notes. It was all there. And my job was to make it disappear. I was supposed to discredit her, drown her in jargon, turn her into a footnote. But something about her didn't let me. Maybe it was the way her voice trembled but never broke. Maybe it was the way her son kept looking at the vending machine in the lobby like he'd never had the chance to ask for something that cost money. Or maybe it was because for the first time in years, I saw my mother. I couldn't breathe in that courtroom. My own argument sounded hollow in my mouth. Every objection felt like I was digging a grave, only I couldn't tell if it was hers or mine. I won the case, of course. The system's designed to favor people like me now. Afterwards, she just stared at me. Not with anger, not with tears, but with recognition. Like she saw through everything. Like she knew what it had cost me to win. That night, I went home to an apartment I hated, filled with things I bought to feel better. I sat at my kitchen table and pulled out a photo I hadn't looked at in years. Me, my parents, before everything fell apart. I stared at it for hours. Not a single word came to mind. Just silence. And then I realized something. I used to think power would protect me, that if I knew how to fight back, I'd never be hurt again. But all it did was turn me into the kind of man I once prayed would disappear. The kind of man who didn't need to raise his voice to destroy a life. He just needed to write his name in ink. So here I am, years later, rich, respected, and utterly hollow. I became who I once hated, not by accident, but step by step. I told myself I was making choices, but every choice was just another brick in the wall that now separates me from the boy I used to be. I don't know if there's a way back. I don't even know if I deserve one. But sometimes I wonder if that boy saw me now. Would he fight me? Or would he beg me to stop before it's too late? The truth is, no one becomes the villain overnight. You just keep saying yes to things you swore you never would until one day the mirror doesn't flinch anymore. And that's when you know you're gone.